I'm gonna put it like I'm gonna be in shape, so I don't give a fuck. I could blast all 12 rounds, but he gonna be a damn fool. He trying to watch me the first half of the fight. He gonna be down, and then next thing you know, the last bell gonna ring. Nigga be like, ding, ding, ding.
He World Boxing Association super featherweight champion Lamont Roach has promised the entire boxing world to be ready for a shocker in 2 weeks' time. It's interesting to see that he understands his place as an underdog, which is not a strange place to find many of Gervonta Davis's next opponents.
So easy when he fought Frank Martin.
Frank Martin was inexperienced and nervous. You know, it is what it is. It's going to be a different fight when I'm in there. He's going to be a different fighter when he's fighting me.
Hey, what's your game plan?
Whoop his ass. I'm always looking for a knockout. No matter what, I'm always prepared for 12 rounds. But
In every case, the underdogs have always remained underdogs, except for cases where Gervonta Davis gives his opponents a few rounds before coming at them with a thumping knockout finish. Many questions can be raised about Gervonta Davis's 2025, while there's a possibility of a retirement. There's also the huge possibility of a comeback. However, the promise he made to his fans is that he has some head to smash on the wall after. Lamont Roach, which means he still has more fights this year, and he wants to. Start by smashing Lamont Roach's head.
He's not been in the ring with. I'm the total package, and honestly, sometimes I think he doubts himself. But I'm a competitor, and I feel like I'm the best. So
Lamont Roach, on the other hand, is ready to hand Gervonta Davis his first career loss on March 1st. His claims look almost impossible, but he's been given evidence of doubt by a fraction of the boxing community. This will be Roach's biggest fight ever, and with his title not being on the line, he can perform without much pressure. Roach will move up to 135 pounds from 130 pounds, where he holds the World Boxing Association crown, and insists he is a far tougher challenge than Martin, who Tank dispatched in 8 rounds in June respectfully. I'm not Frank Martin, the 29-year-old told Cigar Talk. Frank Martin started boxing. When he was 15, he didn't have the experience to be in there with someone as skilled and as experienced as him.
And basically, we ended up talking like, you know what I'm saying, if it makes sense, you know, we both break bread, we get it, you know what I'm saying, it'd be a big fight.
Yeah.
So I always
been
knew, it always been love for sure. But I always knew that right here would come because he's one of the best, and I know for 100% for a fact that he's one of the best. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying so that's I've got the same skill level as Tank. I've got the same experience as Tank. I've got the reflexes. I've got the ability. I've damn sure got the IQ. The Reaper has already faced Davis twice before in the amateurs, losing by decision on both occasions. The Washington man has won 6 on the bounce since dropping a unanimous decision to Jamal Herring in a bid for the World Boxing Council super featherweight world title. In 2019, securing the World Boxing Association crown with a split decision victory over Hector Luis Garcia in November 2023, whom Tank knocked out 10 months prior. Davis, who is from neighboring Baltimore, has won 28 of his 30 professional fights by knockout. However, Roach insists he has a chin to stand up to the 29-year-old's power coach, Calvin Salam Salam.
Coach Calvin, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. What's going on?
How you feeling?
Man, okay.
The face of boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis.
What's going on? How you feeling, man? Okay, man, okay. Okay, the face of boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis just been. What makes people think I'm going to end up like those guys who didn't have the experience and skill he added? I think I've got a nice chin. I got hit on my chin a couple of times. Ain't nobody never dare me. Ain't nobody ever see me hurt in any fight. The power might be a little different. John Davis is still excited about his victory this past June over Frank Martin. The devastating knockout in the F round cemented Tank Davis's reputation as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters today.
Released to the public, we know now, December 14th, Houston, Texas, he's going to be facing a very tough opponent in Lamont Roach. Can you tell us a little bit about the history between them two?
Oh, man, they've been...
Motivated by his crushing victory, the lightweight champion issued a veiled warning to his next opponent, Lamont Roach. Tank showed no mercy to Martin in their June 15 clash at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. The World Boxing Association lightweight champion dominated the fight from start to finish until he knocked out the Ghost at 129 minutes of the 8th round. After this victory, the Media and fans expected Davis to face one of the top prospects at 135 pounds, Shakur Stevenson. Vasyl Lomachenko. However, the response from fans has not been as positive as the champion would have hoped from the amateur Silver Gloves. Everything they grew up to actually together, you know him roaching him back and forth battles.
From the amateurs, Silver Gloves, everything. They grew up to actually together, Roaching him back and forth battles.
And when John Davis is used to fighting bigger fighters who, for the sake of a title shot and a huge payday, carelessly he wait drained ahead of the fight and end up with lackluster performances as a result, well, the same doesn't apply for Lamont Roach, who will instead be moving up in weight to the 135 pounds lightweight division, where Gervonta Davis currently fights at Real Fake. Cause you hating for bro, every time you see me it's what up SHs, you know how you talk. Cause you talking about I bring any type of smoke to anything in my way, hence Lamont Roach is expected to be in the ring on fight night, looking better than Frank Martin, Ryan Garcia, and many of Dante Davis's recent opponents who looked like they were on a rehydration clause when they faced, but as much as this sounds good about Lamont Roach, there's so much downside to the whole fixture. As well, actually the boxing world is usually on pins and needles, while waiting to see what Gervonta Davis will do next. But this time around, fans were very let down when Tank was announced to be fighting against Lamont Roach in December. Roach is a fine fighter, but he isn't a high-profile name, and doesn't have many big wins people want Tank to fight the likes of Shakur Stevenson or Vasyl Lomachenko or even Dion. Of course, figuring out the details to make a mega fight like that happen is never easy, man. What did you say to yourself? You had to say something to yourself. When you seen the card, I probably thought about, the fact that when I fought the last time I fought on pay-per-view, I was the opener now. But there's a growing sentiment among a lot of fans that Davis is kind of cruising at the moment, opting to not take too many risks when called out on that by a user on social media. David had to stick up for himself. Davis was responding to a post that wondered aloud if 2025 would be the year where Davis finally fights credible names. The post also called Davis's age into question. When considering the opponents on his resume, a fan jumped to Tank's defense, exclaiming that his wins over Ryan Garcia, Frank Martin, Isaac Cruz, and Jose Pedraza were all legit, especially when taking into account the way in which he won those fights. Davis agreed with his fan, taking subtle shots at some fighters who have fought his scraps, like Rayleigh Romero, who fought Cruz after Tank beat him, and Devin Haney, who fought Garcia after Davis dominated him. Davis has fought plenty of great fighters, and he knows that always he come to fight. And I think it's a great fight. Everybody talking all that stuff about why Roach, because he signed and took the fight, you know what I'm saying. And it's good for him, principle, despite being the World Boxing Association super featherweight champion. Roach has
Always, he come to fight. And I think it's a great fight. Everybody talking all that stuff about, why Roach? Because he signed and took the fight. You know what I'm saying? And it's good for
not shown great punching power, something vital to face a knockout artist like Tank. Another point against him is that Roach will have to gain 9 pounds from his natural weight to face this fight for the community. Now, did you feel like there's unfair criticism because of Theme Mon are not being as known of a fighter? Hey, Coach Kenny Ellis. What's up? How you doing, Coach? I'm good, man. Taking it day by day. Yes, sir. Boxing world got a big announcement. The responses to his recent post demonstrate the disappointment of fans. Can you fight somebody that's going to actually give you some bump? And yet another cherry picked by Tank were some of the reactions to Davis's message. Another Neen summed up the feeling of media and fans by saying, y'all better stop falling for these weak tricks fighters, moving up down from their natural fighting weight. But he doesn't want to move up or face any of the competition in his wheelhouse. Teo, Devin, Shakur, etc. Nobody wants this fight. The December fight is already set in stone. Now it remains to be seen if Roach can prove all his detractors wrong, or if Davis is really just picking easy opponents to avoid the heavy hitters in his division. This week, we're going to get the face of boxing. Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, December 14th in Houston, Texas. How are you feeling about this fight? What's even more interesting about their matchup is that Gervonta Davis is fighting a familiar foe next. The American boxer has decided to run it back against Lamont Roach, a fighter whom he crossed paths with twice in their amateur careers. It seems they have unfinished business, which the challenger might like to put an end to. Notably, Roach, 29, and Davis, 29, fought twice in their amateur careers at bigger stages. The first one came at the Regional Junior Olympics. The second one was at the National Championships. I feel good, man. You know same VOTL Lamont and Tank have history. What can you tell us about their history? Therefore, they have been familiar with each other and know every trick under each other's sleeve. However, according to Roach at January 1st, 25, he should have been one up at least in their two clashes. The Reaper talked about his past fight with Davis at 30 when he appeared in an interview with Broadway Joel some time back. When touching on his initial career and fighting Tank, he declared, "I fought Dan Davis twice in the amateurs. I lost both times. The first one was a little fishy. No, they both are on YouTube. You can go watch them, how that's going to play into a fight come fight night. They got it for maybe 2 or 3 times." Lamont Roach continued, "I fought Gervonta Davis twice in the amateurs. I lost both times. But the first one was a little robbery. They are on YouTube. You can go watch them. First one was in Baltimore, his hometown. Second was in the Nationals. He beat me in the championships. So he won gold." The host then chimed in and pointed out the first looks a little fishy than the second one. To this, Roach nodded in affirmation and then detailed that the first one came in Baltimore, Davis's hometown. And after the USA Boxing went through the tape, they offered him a slot at Nationals. He continued, "The first one I fought him was in Baltimore in the Regional Junior Olympics. My dad sent the tape to USA Boxing. Tank being a winner. They spot a few times. Tank got the best of his spam. They just bigger and stronger now, older. But as fate would have it, both Roach and Davis made it to the finals and had their second meeting. And the result remained the same." Roach added, "They were like, 'We're going to give you a grant to go to Nationals.' We both made it to Nationals. We made it to the championship. We fought for the championship. He beat me in the championships. So he won gold. And I won silver that year." The Washington native would finish his amateur career with an impressive record of 125-15 and soon make waves in the professional boxing world too. Now he is set to meet Davis for the third time, but there has been growing criticism about the matchup. However, Calvin Ford defended his disciple's decision to fight Roach. Now it's some word out there that Lon, he got some film that don't make Tank look too good. How could that affect the outcome on December 14th man T last 4 or 5 ops. All had film about how they beat him up this spawn. In a conversation with Fight Hype, Ford cited their previous meetings and battles. In addition, the Baltimore native coach admitted that Roach took the fight, which also pushed the negotiations. He declared they've known each other since the amateurs, the Silver Gloves, and everything. They grew up with each other. Everybody's talking about all that stuff. Why Roach? Because he took the fight, and it's good for the community. That's a real good fight.
Now, it's some word out there that Lamont say, he got some film that don't make Tank look too good. How could that affect, the outcome on December 14th?
Shit, man. Tank last 4 or 5 opponents all had film about how they beat him up in spawn.
Would love to see that's a scrappy. Be a scrappy fight. Hey, give me how you compare. According to Ford, it would be an interesting fight because Roach never shied from exchanges and would come to fight despite his reputation. As a skilled fighter, the fans might have different thoughts about it, as this is the third time the World Boxing Association champion has picked a fight with someone from a lower division to defend his gold strap. It remains to be seen when Roach will utilize the experience of their past encounters to Styles. I got him shoo boxing a little bit more. And then fans were not kind to the news, as they were expecting something big from Tank with his current form. There were so many opportunities for a potential dream fight that could have sold stadiums out. The news visibly frustrated one fan, as he wrote, "So Haney just came out and said he could have been ready to fight in October. Tank couldn't send him an offer. He couldn't send Teo an offer. Shake my head the fact that Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney were also looking for their next opponent, and yet a deal could not be reached just made the announcement all the more disappointing for the fans." Similarly, another fan was surprised by the news, as he wrote, "This better not be true. As soon as the news broke out, part of everything that's going on just to be here today, fighting him on, a great event. I'm just thank you. Guys, what you got the finals, you." Another frustrated fan directly questioned the quality of the match and threw shade at the premier boxing champions. "This is not breaking at all. Another trash fight from PBC. This is going to flop so bad at a $90 PPV will be streamed," wrote the fan, slamming PBC over the choice of opponent for Dan Davis. The fan was clear that this fight did not deserve a PPV rate of $90, and Von Davis could have chosen a far better opponent. In a rare sight, a fan defended Davis, as he couldn't understand the reason behind everyone's anger. "If this is true, can you really get mad at Tank? He's staying at 135, and everyone is ducking him in that weight class, the fan wrote, suggesting that Roach might have been the best available option for Davis. More to do, guys. I don't write Dallas, you got Dallas. In a conversation with Mill City boxing Berto Bonk, Court admitted that they were contacted by Davis's team, and after such a lucrative offer, they even started preparing for the fight. But eventually Roach claimed that opportunity for himself. When asked about the matchup, the coach declared, "Hey, I ain't knocking on it. It is a good fight, 130 going up to 135. Why would you fight somebody who is a natural 135-pounder when De Los Santos and Roach are put together? The latter would come out as an easier matchup, a pound for pound. I think I'm a harder punch." Then Tank. That's very interesting. I know the fans are going to love to hear that you never know what could happen. Is Tank somebody you would like to see yourself in the ring with? Absolutely. As Bay and Court pointed out, it was tougher to beat a natural 135 pounds boxer than someone who will put up weight for the fight. However, it doesn't take away the fact that Roach is the reigning champion at 130, is on a 6-fight win streak, and he has only suffered 1 defeat in his 27-fight-long career. Renowned for his explosive force and crowd-pulling skills, Gervonta Davis has become one of the most brilliant boxing.
Pound for pound, I think I'm a harder punch than Tank.
That's very interesting. I know the fans are going to love to hear that. You never know what can happen. Is Tank somebody you would like to see yourself in the ring with?
Absolutely.
Stars absolutely near the end of 2025. That's what we're aiming for. There you go, there you go. You heard it from the man himself. Before I let you go, I'll be remiss not to ask you anything you'd like to share with the fans. So the Baltimore native, 29 years old, has an amazing record of 30 wins. Davis has a different approach. Generally, he lets his opponent win early rounds before delivering a knockout punch with one devastating blow. Currently holding the World Boxing Association Lightweight World Championship, Davis is one of the most marketable athletes in the sport, hence many rivals are ready to share the ring with him. 2-division champion Teofimo Lopez, who just indicated he was ready for a confrontation later this year, is among those looking for a fight. So when it comes to it, when it's there, it's a different story. At the end of the day, ain't nobody fighting for me. But me, I ain't scared of nobody. Gervonta Davis, in a recent interview with Fight Hype, Lopez questioned Davis's faith in facing elite opponents. He underlined the long-standing belief that Davis has been under close control by his management, particularly citing his early resistance to face Vasyl Lomachenko. The main hole, that they don't believe in themselves. How many times did they say that Tank Davis was not ready for LMA, that they had to prep him? How many times did Mayweather have to speak for Tank Davis? I'm just speaking facts. Music. Lopez also spoke of an earlier sparring session he conducted with Davis 11 years ago, whereas Davis was already a professional fighter at 18. Lopez was just 15 at the time. Other than what he described as Davis's aggressive strategies in the ring, Lopez acknowledged that not much can be drawn from the experienced Lamont Roach. Is a good fighter. He's technically sound. He's a championship-level fighter. But as far as opponents for Tank Davis in a pay-per-view event go, I prefer to see someone who has produced explosive performance at the highest level, or at least as a polarizing personality. Davis is a bona fide pay-per-view star, whether you agree that so many of his fights should have been on pay-per-view. And I disagreed with most of them. He's been established on pay-per-view for a while now. Danny, I wanted to get your thoughts. I appreciate you come out of him. I wanted to get your thoughts, Danny, on the Tank Roach thing. So just your thoughts on the fight in general. What do you think about the fight? What's been lacking is the proper opposition necessary to charge those kinds of fees. Roach is a solid fighter, but he hasn't reached the pinnacle. And I also don't think he's the nature of character to compensate for that. He's had success at super featherweight, but it's taken him a while to do so. If he'd made numerous title defenses, a fight between him and Davis might make more sense. But he's made one against Fergal Crow. We've seen Davis in this sort of fight before, such as against Hector Luis Garcia, who since being stopped by Davis has only lost a split decision to Roach. But then that's become the pay-per-view model. Once a fighter has that status, he stays on pay-per-view regardless of his opposition. Calm down, brother. Today they probably going to get you up. Look, Frank Martin, Davis's past opponent, is also a solid fighter, and unlike Roach, is established at lightweight. He'd been on course to fight Shakur Stevens, and he produced some good performances that meant there was a curiosity surrounding him at the highest level. There's no question Davis is at the highest level, which is why the careful selection of his opposition is frustrating. Applause. It's also relevant that Roach, who is spoken about highly by those who know him, isn't the biggest of super featherweights, where he still appears capable of making defenses of his World Boxing Association title, and that Davis is such a powerful lightweight, similarly in the build-ups to his fight Gervonta Davis, is mostly silent until he's infuriated, which gets him really messy and insulting, like we saw against Frank Martin, where he threatened his victim that he was going to get his girlfriend and snatch her from him. Well, Lamont Roach has now enjoyed a bit of the Tank Davis drama after saying he would whoop Dan Davis's, and that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality content like this. Until next time, peace out.